Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hello everybody, welcome to Ask Rob and Rob, the show where you get your questions in and we will give you our answers. Now this week we're really being tested because people want us to predict the future and we will do our very best at that. But if you'd like us to give predictions of the future, then you need the hotline to call on. And luckily, that bit's easy.
It is. All you have to do is call 013 808 0035. That's 013 808 0035. Or head over to propertyhub.net/ask. Either of those methods will allow you to leave us a voicemail, re-record it if you mess it up. We have that luxury, so it's only fair that you do as well. And then send it over to us and we will get you an answer, just like we're about to do for Danny.
Hi, Rob and Rob. It's Danny here. My question is with regards to the coronavirus. There's been a lot of talks around in the media that it's going to be a recession, etc. with regards to it. And I was wondering, what are your thoughts on it? Because I'm currently buying my first buy-to-lets in Liverpool and Manchester. And one of the properties is by refurbish and refinance and rent. And I wanted to know, what do you think the effect of coronavirus is going to be? Is it going to affect my refinancing on the BRR project or not?
Great question, Danny. And actually, lots of people have been asking just this very thing. You know, are we going into a recession? How will that impact us? Well, the thing you need to understand is you're already operating in a recession. It may not have officially been noted that we're in a recession yet, but it will be. In the future, it will be noted at the time of this recording, we were in a recession. But actually, you should be uplifted by that because you're already operating in that environment. We all are. So what does that mean for property prices and, in particular, your strategy of buy, refurb, refinance? Well, let's start with the general first. If this is a short-lived recession, then for the majority of property investors, they needn't worry. If it's a longer, deeper recession and possibly depression, then of course there are things to be concerned about. Let's start with a minor recession, because I think you need to at least be aware, as Boris would say, with your strategy. Because a slight change in pricing or values will affect the numbers. Because if you buy a property and you've done all the numbers on it, which I really hope you have, if that's your strategy, and the market dips for a short period of time by just 2 or 3%, well, that could really throw the numbers in your strategy out for your refinance part. And it means that you might have to hold on for longer, or if you're forced to, refinance at a value that you're not quite happy with. Now, that would be a short-term problem, but it is worth keeping that in mind. Now, for normal property investors, what I mean by that is people who just do standard buy-to-lets, you should be less sensitive about that scenario, because if it does dip for a few months and then bounces back pretty much straight away, you probably won't even notice in a year's time. But then there is that deeper, darker recession and possibly depression that would really affect us all. Now, what happens if we go into a deeper, darker recession/depression? Well, let's listen to this next question before we answer that.
Hey, Rob and Rob, Pete Bailey here, based up in Warrington. Just wondering what your thoughts are on the 18-year property cycle now that coronavirus is kicking about. Does it go right out the window and reset once all this is blown over, or will it pick back up, maybe delayed a year or two? Yeah, just wondering what your thoughts are on that, because I was kind of trying to play by the 18-year sort of cycle. So, yeah, any advice, mate, any input would be great.
Thank you for the question, Pete, and thank you for effectively teasing the episode that we're going to be putting out on Thursday. You are not the only one who's been wondering about this question. A lot of people have been, and we have been as well. We've been doing a lot of thinking and reading around this subject, and we're going to be exploring it on Thursday. We last talked about the bigger picture aspect of the coronavirus back in episode 367 in March, which feels like a really, really long time ago now. At that time, there were a lot of unknowns. And there still are, but there are now fewer unknowns than there were before. And we've had a chance to process things a little bit. Everything now in May, where it feels like health-wise we're coming out the other side of this, is feeling very different from how it was in March when we were really just going into it. So on Thursday's episode, we're going to be talking about what happens in future years. And of course, a big part of that is going to be the property cycle. And the big question that we'll be trying to come to a view on is this such a major event that it resets the property cycle? Would it basically break it in the way that wars have done? Or actually, is this just the cycle playing out as normal, dramatic as it might feel, due to the nature of what's happened? And part of having that discussion is going to tie into this factor that Rob mentioned earlier of whether this is going to be a relatively short recession or whether there is something deeper or darker around the corner. So no answer for you now, Pete, but only a couple of days to wait until you do get one. And Danny, you are a bit more exposed on your purchase because you are relying on things going relatively right in the short term. So any dip in prices, any reduction in the number of mortgage products, or any excess pessimism from valuers could have an impact on you, even if it doesn't last long. So I'd say revisit the numbers there, make sure there's a good margin of safety, and make sure you've got a plan B as well. So that's us done for today, but as you already know, we're going to be back on Thursday with another brand new episode for you. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.